So hey everyone, I kind of want to talk about a couple of things in this video. In addition to a few separate bills in a few different states, I kind of want to talk about something that I think has been endemic to the government for a while. It's not just this recent administration, but it's just something that has been happening for a while, and it's kind of one of those things about these ridiculous, pointless bills that do really nothing but waste time and resources that really should be spent on other things. It's like I think that people that when bills like this are raised, that we really need to demand accountability from our government representatives that are wasting their time on priorities that accomplish nothing other than just diverting resources away from places where it should be. It's like Texas needs to focus on keeping its infrastructure working. I know that there's a lot of priorities, all across the country, bridges that are in need of significant repair. That different parts of the country, it's like I know there's a bunch of needs which really are something where we should be focusing our energy on things that help the public, that help everyone, that all of us can benefit from. It's like, and I want to talk about a couple of those bills real quick. One of them that's up in the Texas legislature is kind of called the Furries Act. It's supposed to be something about keeping non-human behavior out of schools, and it's a real thing. It's actually, and the acronym is actually furries, like FURRIES, something about furry role playing or something. And it's something about not meowing or barking in class, or using the litter box in the bathroom, or any of those other sorts of things. Wearing a collar is apparently a problem. And I want to tell you just one thing, because I have been a lifelong furry for I don't know how many years. And I'm going to tell you something, that as a furry, I have never once barked, meowed, or any of that stuff in classroom. Furries don't do that, okay? We don't do it in school, and it doesn't happen in, generally speaking, anywhere, outside of like furry cons, maybe our house or something like that. But it's not a problem for the schools. And as far as the thing about the litter box, that is based off of a debunked story that is not true. And if you look it up, I think it was something about a teacher that had a bucket of litter just in case of like an active shooter drill or something like that. Nobody's using the litter box. Nobody is barking in class. It's ridiculous, and you're wasting our time. And as far as wearing a collar, it's like, if a student wants to wear a collar, who cares? It's no different than wearing a necklace. I don't really see what the issue is, if they want to express themselves by wearing a collar, because it's no different than a plain necklace. Lots of kids that, I mean, I don't know if goth is still a thing. I'm sure it is. But it's like they wear like spiked collars and stuff like that to express themselves, and you may not like it, but it doesn't do any harm to anybody. It's just, I don't really see how you can say that this kind of neckwear is not okay and this kind is. And it's just like, that's the kind of thing that the government needs to not be focusing on. It's like, I'm all for kids wearing collars in school. If that's what you're into, you go right ahead. But I guarantee you that none of the rest of the things that the bill is addressing are happening in the first place. And even if they are, the entire reason the bill is there is to so the governor of Texas can push private school vouchers, so that because he says that if parents don't want their kids to be around furries, they shouldn't have to. But it's like, what exactly is the interest that people have in private schools? I don't understand it. I mean, private schools, sure, they have their function, I guess, but I also don't understand, if all it takes to get into a private school is money, what's to stop a furry from getting into a private school? It's like, I don't really see how that really does anything for anybody, other than demonstrating a clear ulterior motive on behalf of the Texas government. So there's that. I also have a problem with apparently this Alabama statute or law or something, where they're trying to make it so that you can sue a hairdresser for giving a haircut that does not match with the person's assigned gender at birth. And that's just ridiculous, because, okay, Alabama, you are like 45th in the nation in education. Maybe you should focus on that rather than what kind of haircuts people are getting. And I don't really know if a haircut can be considered gendered in the first place, because there are plenty of guys with long hair. There are plenty of girls with short hair. It's like, I don't see how that is possibly enforceable. And it seems like, again, it's another one of those bills that people are focusing their energy on, which is just a waste of time. And, then there's also the whole fact that it brings to mind North Korea and their state sponsored haircuts, which, when I heard about it originally in North Korea, I thought it was ridiculous then, and I still think it's ridiculous now. It's like, I don't think that your focus should be on haircuts when your state is so far down in the education rankings. I think that you have higher priorities than what people are doing with their hair. And the last thing that I want to talk about, not last thing, there's two of them, because apparently there's, I have a list of notes here. Apparently Florida is trying to bring child labor back. They are trying to have it so that kids 14 and older can work in the fields overnight on a school night. Because, first of all, child labor was outlawed in like 1938 or something. And secondly, just because you scared all of the immigrants away doesn't necessarily mean that your teenagers are going to want to spend their evenings picking fruit. Because truth be told, they probably don't have to. And even if they had to get a job, I think they would rather get a job at some place like McDonald's or Starbucks or any of those other kinds of jobs rather than going out into the field, which I really don't think they're going to want to do. So, you can pass that bill if you really want to, but I think that, again, it's a waste of time, and I think that it's just not going to solve the problem that you created for yourselves. And, the last thing that I kind of want to mention is something that I only learned about because of Stephen Colbert. And it's like, apparently there's a law on file somewhere in Texas that you can't have more than 6 dildos, which apparently is a real thing. So let us, think about that for a second. It's like, first of all, if it was something about a law that where you have to show ID if you're buying a dildo online or something. And it was just like, okay, they don't want kids getting dildos. But here's where this, the practicality should come into play, okay? Because, obviously kids shouldn't be playing with dildos. Okay. But if you're like a consenting adult, who cares if you got 6 dildos or if you've got dildos lining every wall of your house? That is all entirely up to you. Let your freak flag fly. But, how do you enforce that? Do you go to people's houses counting dildos? Because, there's, as far as I know, constitutional, Bill of Rights stuff that says that you can't do that. And even if it was any of your business, which it is not, it's like, okay, let's be practical. Who really needs like 6 dildos anyway? But even if you have like 47 dildos, it's like, it's just, it seems ridiculous that should be anybody's business. I just don't understand it. It's just, and these are the things that our government is focusing on. So it's like, if this annoys you, if any of that pisses you off, because it's all real, all 4 of them. So if any of it is real, it's all real. And if any of it annoys you, that our government is focusing on this kind of thing instead of prosecuting Signalgate or any of these other clear violations of laws or wastes of our time at the very least, like these bills, be sure to let your representatives know, because we did not send them to our state houses of government, to Congress, to be focusing on things like haircuts and child labor and how many dildos a person has in their closet.
Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. You can also find me on Twitter and a few other places on the web, or support me via Patreon or Ko-fi. Zebra hugs!